Hi everyone, it's Miss Carla. I hope you guys are doing well. I am here with you for Classics with Carla. Um, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are washing hands. Let's see, I do live with neighbors, so unfortunately you might hear some noises. And my cat's old. I always like to give this disclaimer. So she might howl, meow. So far, she's been good. Hopefully, it'll stay that way. We are reading The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. We're on Chapter 7, The Queen of the Field Mice. The Scarecrow and the Tin Man sat beside a river and waited for Dorothy to wake up. "We can't be far from the yellow brick road now," said the Scarecrow, "but which way do you suppose it is?" The Tin Man was about to answer when he heard a low growl. He turned his head and saw a large yellow wildcat come running towards him. Its mouth was open, showing 2 rows of ugly, sharp teeth. Its red eyes glowed like balls of fire. It was chasing a tiny gray field mouse. Although he had no heart, the Tin Man knew it was wrong for the wildcat to try and kill such a tiny creature. So the Tin Man raised his axe, and as the wildcat ran by, he gave it a quick blow and cut the beast's head off. "Oh, thank you ever so much for saving my life," said the field mouse in a squeaky voice. "You are quite welcome," answered the Tin Man. "Even though I have no heart, I am careful to help those who need a friend, even if it happens to be only a mouse." The tiny mouse looked quite shocked. "Why, I'm the queen of the field mice, and since you have saved my life, I owe you a good deed in return." But the Tin Man could not think of anything this tiny mouse could do to help him. Just then the Scarecrow got an idea. "I know something you could do to help us," he shouted. "Our friend the lion is fast asleep in the poppy field. Do you think you could help us move him?" The Tin Man could not understand how a tiny mouse could move a great lion, but the Queen of the Field Mice informed him that she was queen of thousands of mice. She gave him a signal, and in a few minutes they were surrounded by field mice. They came from all directions. There were big mice and little mice and middle-sized mice, and each one brought a piece of string in its mouth. The Tin Man and the Scarecrow worked very quickly, and in no time at all, they made a truck out of the tree branches. They slowly tied one end of each piece of string around the neck of each mouse and fastened the other at the end of the truck. When all the mice had been harnessed to the truck, they were able to pull it quite easily. The Tin Man and the Scarecrow sat at the wooden truck while the tiny mouse pulled them into the poppy field. They soon found the lion. They finally managed to get him on the truck, but they had to work very hard, for the lion was very heavy. Then, with the help of the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, the mice were able to pull the truck out of the poppy field. By this time, Dorothy and Toto were awake, and they were very happy to see their friends. The lion was being pulled away from the deadly flowers. The Queen of the Field Mice bowed, and in a squeaky voice said, "Goodbye, and if you ever need us again, come out into the field and call, and we shall hear you and help you in any way we can. Goodbye." Chapter 8, The Emerald City. The next morning, as soon as the sun was up, Dorothy and her friends started on their way. Soon they saw a beautiful green glow in the sky. "That must be the Emerald City," said Dorothy. As they walked, the green glow became brighter and brighter. It seemed that at last they were at the end of their long journey. Finally, they reached the end of the yellow brick road. Before them stood a huge gate covered with emeralds. The jewels glittered in the sun. Next to the gate was a bell, and Dorothy rang the bell, and the big gate swung open very slowly. Inside was a large room covered with shining emeralds. A little man stood inside the room, and he was dressed in all green. At his side was a large green box. He asked Dorothy and her friends why they had come to the Emerald City. "We came here to see the Wizard of Oz," said Dorothy. The man was so surprised at this answer that he had to sit down to think. "It's been many years since anyone has come to see the great wizard," he said. "I hope that your business is important, because if you have come here for a foolish reason, he might get angry and destroy all of you." But the Scarecrow assured the man that they had come on very important business. Then the small man explained that he was the guardian of the gate, and only he could take them to see the great Oz. before they could enter the wonderful city, everyone had to put on green glasses. The guardian of the gate explained that the glasses would prevent them from being blinded by the brightness of the Emerald City. He carefully unlocked the box and fitted everyone, even little Toto, with a pair of green glasses. Finally, they were all ready to enter the gates of the Emerald City. Chapter 9, our last chapter for today. Even though their eyes are protected by the green glasses, Dorothy and her friends are dazzled by the wonderful city. The streets were lined with beautiful houses which were all made of green marble and covered with sparkling emeralds. There were many people, men, women, and children, all dressed in green clothing. Several shops were open, and Dorothy saw that everything in them was green. There were green candies, green cookies, and even glasses of green lemonade. Everyone seemed happy and comfortable in the Emerald City. The guardian of the gate led them through the streets until they came to a big building exactly in the middle of the city. This was the Palace of Oz. In front of the door stood a soldier, and he was dressed in a green uniform and a long green beard. "Here are the strangers," said the guardian of the gate, "and they demand to see the Great Oz." The soldier asked everyone to follow him inside the palace. Then he asked them to wait while he brought their message to the Great Oz. They had to wait a long time before the soldier returned, and when he finally came back, Dorothy asked, "Have you seen Oz?" "Oh no," answered the soldier. "I have never seen him, but I spoke to him as he sat behind a screen. I gave him your message. He said that he will talk to each of you, but he will only see one of you each day, so you must stay here at the palace for a few days, and I will show you to your rooms." The next morning, a young woman dressed in all green came to see Dorothy. She gave Dorothy a lovely green dress and even tied a green bow around Toto's neck. Then the woman led Dorothy and Toto to the throne room of the palace to see the Great Oz himself. After waiting for a few minutes, a bell rang, and Dorothy walked into the throne room. The room was very big, and all the walls were covered with glistening emeralds. In the middle of the room stood a huge throne. It was shaped like a chair and sparkled with gems. In the center of the chair was an enormous head. There was no body or arms or legs to support the head. It stood alone. Dorothy looked at the enormous head with wonder and fear. The eyes in the head turned slowly and the mouth moved, and then the voice said, "I am Oz, the great and terrible. Who are you, and why are you here?" Dorothy was frightened, but somehow she had the courage to answer. "I'm Dorothy, and I have come to ask you to help me return to my home in Kansas." The eyes looked at her for a minute, and then a voice said, "Where did you get those silver shoes, and what is that mark on your forehead?" Dorothy explained that the shoes had belonged to the Wicked Witch of the East, and that the mark on her forehead was the magical kiss of the Good Witch of the North. The eyes looked at her carefully. They winked 3 times and then turned up to the ceiling and down to the floor and rolled around so they could see every part of the room. Then the Great Oz was ready to give his answer. "If you want me to help you return to Kansas, you must do something for me first. You must kill the Wicked Witch of the West." Dorothy began to cry. "I have never killed anything willingly," she explained, "and even if I wanted to kill the Wicked Witch, I would not know how." But the Great Oz only said, "This is my answer. Until the Wicked Witch dies, you will not return to Kansas. Remember that the Wicked Witch is very evil and ought to be killed. Now go, and do not return until she is dead." Sadly, Dorothy left the room and told her friends what happened. The Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion felt very sad because they could not help Dorothy. The next morning, the soldier with the green beard led the Scarecrow into the throne room. There, sitting on the sparkling throne, was a beautiful woman dressed in green silk and covered with jewels. Large green wings grew from her shoulders. The Scarecrow bowed, and the beautiful woman said, "I am the Great Oz. Who are you, and what do you want?" The Scarecrow was very surprised. He expected to see the head Dorothy had told him about, but he answered the Great Oz and explained what he wanted. more than anything else was to have brains. Oz was quiet for a few minutes. Then he said, I never grant favors without something in return. If you kill the wicked witch of the West, I will give you the best brains in the land, and you will be the wisest man there is. The Scarecrow was confused. But you asked Dorothy to kill the wicked witch of the West, he said. So I did, answered Oz. I don't care who kills her, but until she is dead, I will not grant your wish. The Scarecrow returned to his friends. He told them that the Great Oz had appeared in the form of a beautiful woman, but had refused to give him any brains until the wicked witch was killed. The next morning, the Tin Man was called into the throne room. This time, the Great Oz appeared as a terrible beast. The creature was as big as an elephant and had a head like a rhino. It had 5 arms and 5 long legs. Thick, woolly hair covered its huge body. The Tin Man had never seen such a terrible creature. I am Oz the Great and Terrible, spoke the beast. Who are you and what do you want? The Tin Man explained that he wanted a heart so that he could love. Oz waited only a minute before he replied. He explained to the Tin Man that he would receive a wonderful heart only if he helped Dorothy and the Scarecrow kill the Wicked Witch of the West. The Tin Man bowed his head and slowly left the throne room. When he returned to his friends, he sadly told them what the Oz had said. And the next morning, it was the Lion's turn to talk to the Great Oz. When he entered the throne room, he expected to see the great head, the beautiful woman, or the hideous beast. But the Lion saw none of these. Instead, to his surprise, he saw a great ball of fire. The ball of fire was so fierce and glowing he could hardly look at it. And as the Lion moved away from the heat of the fire, he heard a quiet voice say, I am the Oz, the Great and Terrible. Who are you, and what do you want? The frightened Lion answered, I'm a cowardly lion, afraid of everything. I came to beg you to give me courage so that I can become king of the beasts. The ball of fire burned for a minute, and then the voice said, bring me proof that the Wicked Witch is dead. Then I'll give you the courage. The Lion was angry at the Great Oz, but he was too frightened to say anything. So he ran from the room and joined his friends. After the Lion told Dorothy what had happened, she looked at him sadly. What shall we do now? She asked. There's only one thing we can do, answered the Lion, and that is to go to the land of the Winkies where the Wicked Witch lives and destroy her. But suppose we can't destroy her, said Dorothy. Then I will never have courage, said the Lion. And I will never have a heart, said the Tin Man. And I will never have brains, said the Scarecrow. And I will never see Aunt Em and Uncle Henry, cried Dorothy. The 4 friends thought for a long time. I suppose we must try, but I am sure I do not want to kill anybody, even to see Aunt Em again, said Dorothy. So Dorothy and her friends decided to begin their journey the very next morning. Alright guys, that's the end of chapter 9. We're going to start with chapter 10 next time to search for the Wicked Witch. I hope you guys have enjoyed this book. I did enjoy it when a couple years ago when I discovered it. So go ahead and check back for another video. There's a new video uploaded every Monday and Wednesday at noon. Check out our Facebook page for more events and stuff like that, especially during this time of COVID-19. If you have any questions, you can put in the comments below or reach to us on Facebook. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.